Great, so as many of you guys know, these guys have roots in the Bay Area. I'm just going to ask a few questions and let you guys line up here for the audience to ask questions. But I wanted to ask you guys, what's it like for you to show this film from your hometown where you grew up?
I love the Bay. I love the Bay. Yeah! It's still nice to come back and every time come check back in with a new film and being able to show it to you guys, embracing all my family, all my friends. It's really good. It's really good homecoming for me, especially here at CAAMFest.
There's no place like home, right? I'm not originally from the Bay Area, but I moved here a couple years ago and I love it.
Actually, it's interesting, on our ride over here, we all sat in the same car, and we just realized, I think for the first time, that we cover all parts of the Bay. From the city, South Bay, East Bay, some of us, and then, of course, the peninsula where Jeremy grew up, so we got it all right.
That's awesome. You guys got the bases covered. So you guys, as you talked about before, you started following Jeremy long before the Linsanity thing broke out. And, it's really curious. I wonder, as the story evolved, as you saw him go through his struggles and triumphs, what were you guys thinking? What did you think the story was going to be, and how did that change over time?
Well, I think when we first approached him, it was just a great story that has potential for what he was doing at Harvard. That was our fascinating story. He was leading his team in all, rebounding, scoring, shooting, everything. And, I thought at that point, if he made the NBA, that's an amazing documentary. And, we kept filming, and he was in the NBA, but it was like this kind of bittersweet success story. And, we didn't know where to go with it. And, we didn't really have a great ending. And last February, he gave us an ending. So that's how we, it was pretty incredible.
I think Jeremy was a little nice in the video. There were times when we asked him to film that he actually told me last week he was ready to punch me in the face because, there are times, if someone has focus test him and we're trying to flip on cameras and talk to him about the difficulty and the challenges, it was really difficult, and we're really thankful though for those times that he did sit down with us, that he did share his story, because you can't replace those moments.
So Alan, you actually have close ties with the Lin family. So can you talk about what was it like when their first approach, and what were some of the concerns, and who are these guys, and how did that trust build up over time?
Yeah, so Jeremy was my cousin, and when I first moved to the Bay Area, he asked me, "Hey, there's these guys. They're bugging me a lot. I don't know what to do with them." And he said, "Can you go talk with them?" So I met with these guys, and I think the thing is, with something like a documentary and opening up your home and your family, access to your brothers, it was very, very personal, and I think there was just a trust that we had to develop as a group first, and then once we had established that, then we can, make that approach and talk to the family. And I think that was, these guys were just very genuine in that they felt like there was a great story that they wanted to tell. No exploitation, just really tell the story.
So you guys together as a team, getting to know you, you really kind of represent what Jeremy's story is about. In terms of the love of the sport, the faith, the persistence, the connection to the community. And so I was thinking about it, I was like, I feel like you guys are a family. Do you feel like you represent the mom, the dad, who plays who in this sport? Chris, you want to speak on that?
Yeah, I don't know if anyone can represent mom and dad. But yes, we are a family. I think, we've spent so much time together, both good and bad. When Linsanity was happening, we were having our own moments of Linsanity. We'd call each other and not speak for 30 seconds, just scream at each other, right? It was definitely a project with ups and downs, much like Jeremy's career, but the fruits of our labor are on screen, so it was all worth it.
Absolutely. And who did the laundry?
Not me.
So I'm going to take welcome audience questions. You guys can just line up at the microphone here.
Actually, just real quick, before we go to the questions, we wanted to just honor some other guests that we have that were really important and crucial for the film. So tonight, I know we have one person who's very special, Bay Area. He owns the Golden State Warriors, Joe Lacob. A few other guests, Greg Louie, our editor, Phil Yu, Jim Sutter, our coaches, Peter DeBrock, Doc Schlepper. I mean, these guys were all really instrumental in making this thing happen and being a part of Jeremy's life, so we just want to thank you guys.
I was just wondering, what's the production cost? You waste the money or the hours and the money? Do you expect the film to make any money?
Well, Brian and 408 Films were the ones that financed the film, so the budget is growing, but it's you know, bigger than a Volkswagen and smaller than a school bus.
There's some swag out in the back if you haven't noticed. It's for sale in the lobby. Make sure you get some pins, posters, and what else? T-shirts. So they're flying off the shelves like hotcakes. So grab one on your way out, please.
So I was wondering, basketball is a team sport, and by seeing the documentary, I mean it is about Jeremy Lin. But I didn't see anything about his relationship with his teammates. Can you guys speak to that? Why or why not it wasn't included?
Sure. You know, I think Jeremy is a player that he's all about team. I think from his high school to college he makes the players around him better. You know, obviously this is a story about him. And to get into everybody else's story, it's going to be a lot more documentaries. So we wanted to try to stay true to the solitary story. There's something very interesting you said, because there's a certain immeasurable amount of statistic that you can't really measure about what he does on the court and how he makes the rest of the team play better. I mean, if you look at that New York Knicks team, I think a couple of those players don't even play in the NBA anymore, you know, from last year. So it was pretty amazing what he did with the team around him. So. And it's been like that through his whole career.
Hi, thank you very much for making the film. I really enjoyed it. I was wondering what Jeremy saw the film. I understand he saw it for the first time at Sundance. Is that right?
Yeah, he actually saw it for the very first time in Austin this past weekend at South by Southwest. So I think if you know Jeremy, you know, humility is one of the first words that come to mind. So I think he's a little embarrassed to see himself on the big screen, but obviously, you know, he enjoyed the film.
Hi, are there any possibility of doing a sequel to this?
Yeah, there are going to be more documentaries about Jeremy Lin, I'll tell you that. We don't know what we're going to do, but you know, again, I think this is the beginning of his career. This is his third year in the NBA. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen next, so I'm excited to see.
I was going to add, I think, getting to know Jeremy, obviously basketball is one of his passions, but he is so involved in the community, in his church, so I think there's a lot of other things besides basketball that he's passionate about. And he's a young man, you know, he's 24 years old. Hopefully he has a long career ahead of him, but also post-basketball, I think there'll be books and documentary, you know, everything written about him. He's really extraordinary young man.
So Brian, I know you actually juggle a lot of hats. You're producing, you're acting, you've been in some awesome movies. So, like, I wanted to ask, like, you know, through the process of this whole movie making and producing it, have you really grown as a person, or have you, like, how has it changed you in the trajectory of Jeremy's career as well?
I hope you ask these guys a question like that too. Yeah, I do wear a lot of different hats, but this particular project, You know, it's interesting. I was standing in the back there thinking how a few years ago when this thing started, I was actually standing on the stage, this exact spot. I'm not even kidding. So there was a question, it was a different project. Obviously, someone asked, you know, what are you guys working on next? That whole thing, and I was like, well, we've got this thing about this guy who's making some noise, you know, in the basketball scene. And there's actually you know, a lot of people already know, and obviously being from the Bay Area. So at that point, we had no idea, and it was just an amazing, you know, like to be here again in front of everybody. My parents are out there, the hometown friends, you know, my brother's up here. It's really, I mean, I've grown individually in so many different ways through this process, and I think, I mean, probably the number one thing is just, I mean, from a professional standpoint, like my producing, you know-how or lack thereof, you know, has probably grown immensely. My mind has obviously been, you know, just in terms of like everything that I've witnessed and the faith that these people have shown me. It's just on a personal level, it's just been tremendous. So I think that's the most important thing when I walk away from this that I'm going to remember is just, again, the relationships and the experience, and that thing, you can't buy that, so it's amazing. So.
Please don't be shy, you guys can line up with him for questions. Well, I just want to know, what video games did you guys play with Jeremy? What's his favorite video game?
His favorite video game by far is a game called Dota. Any Dota fans out there? But that's a game that, actually it's funny because that game is interesting because it's a community game. It's, you know, and he plays with his brothers, and it's a place, it's like 5-on-5, it's like basketball, and it's really a place that he can bond and be together with his brothers, and it's a place that they maintain that relationship.
So obviously there was a lot of love and care in putting the film together, but are there any scenes that were cut that were really hard? Or any laugh out loud moments that you want to share that didn't make it in the film?
Keep getting that question. I can't say that there was anything that was like really incredible or really funny that didn't fit the story. Yeah, I mean, I think everything you see is on the screen. So.
I think also in any film, it can get too precious where you're going to tell the story in a finite amount of time. I think there's always stuff that, you know, hey, this is cool, but it doesn't fit. So, you know, how do you represent that, right? So, there's always stuff. I mean, the ratio of what you shoot to what actually shows up on screen is pretty phenomenal, especially for documentaries. You don't know what's going to happen. None of us knew what, you know, when insanity was going to happen. Insanity wasn't even a word when we started this, right? So, you know, you got to shoot and see what happens.
So to wrap it up, I know a lot of people are wondering where they can see this next, where's the movie going to go, how can they support the film? You guys want to speak on that a little bit?
Yeah, so we are working on our distribution deal right now, so please cross your fingers for us. And actually, I'll take a moment if you guys can do me a favor. Bust out your cell phones, Facebook, Twitter, you know, get the social media going. Let people out there know that you guys want to see the film. So do that now while Alan's talking.
So we have a special gift for someone out in the audience. But before we do that, actually, I wanted to talk real quick. As part of our social media and part of our getting the word out, we're recruiting street team members. So our Team Linsanity. So if you want to, there's a table back there and a table upstairs. Where you can go and sign up and be part of our street team, help us promote it, help get the word out. You know, we're going to get organized as we get closer to our distribution date, so we definitely encourage you to do that. Now, giveaway. So I wanted to bring up this giveaway bag. We decided to give you guys a special gift. You know, we've got our poster, we've got our buttons. So these buttons, there's 9 buttons, each one representing every jersey that he played on to get to his NBA career, including AAU and high school. So we'll have that. And then lastly,